Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy, an identity coach helping others who struggle with their sexual identity and families of queer youth find their path of understanding and acceptance.
And I'm Carla, a mom empowerment coach empowering moms to own their new identities and motherhood journeys.
And together we are the EFFing Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. We are the EFFing Madres. I'm Romy. This is Carla. And Carla, I'm going to tell them who we are.
Yeah.
Two mamas, two Latinas, two best friends, two girl moms who said Eff it and started a podcast and said Eff it and went into coaching and created our own us. That's what we've been doing here. And we basically say Eff it with other moms. We talk to them and hear their Eff it moment. And an Eff it moment for anyone listening is an emotional change, a mind shift. It's a move. It's a job. It's an active change. But most importantly, like an internal place where you finally have had something in there that's been like wanting to come out of you and you just effing do it. And then we talk about how that affects every part of your life as a woman, as a mother, as just a person, right? And so we hope that they inspire you, they inspire us, and we are currently actively in ours.
Yeah, we are still going through it. But we are excited. We have a woman named Sandra Contreras. She's the mother of two. And she was working, 9 to 5 job every day, juggling 2 kids and all of that, and lost her identity and decided to start a hobby because she wanted to find herself again, and started a hobby. And it led to creating a business where she's making handmade crafts. And now she has moved into it. Well, she's 2 years ago moved into it full time. So I'm really curious to hear how that went for her, because that's a big deal. So let's jump in and have her share her story.
All right, can't wait.
Here with us, she started her small business called Cosita Contreras, and so she's going to dive into that journey. So we're going to go ahead and just ask you the first question. So Sandra, what brought about this mental shift that made you say Eff it that you're going to share with us today?
So I guess the moment that started or caused me to say, Eff it, I'm gonna do something for myself. I caught myself in this like cycle of going to work every day, coming home, being a mom, being a partner, going to sleep and waking up and doing it again, all again, same routine every single day. And I just got to the point where I was like, I don't do anything for myself. I have no creative outlet. I don't spend any time on myself. I started looking up different crafts on YouTube, and I looked into like learning how to do nails, learning how to make earrings. I found resin, and I was like, you know what, this is what I'm going to try. Watched videos for a couple weeks and started experimenting on my kitchen table, which 10 out of 10 don't recommend, don't do that. And from there, kind of just started like a little hobby. I started posting it on Instagram, and I had a whole bunch of friends just, start reacting to it and asking to make specific things. And from there, blew up.
That's awesome. So it really just was like, let me just see. Like, I don't have any expectation. I just want to see how this is going to. So it was an interest that you just wanted to dive into.
Yeah, it was just something that I wanted to do when the kids went to sleep and I had my time. Like, what do I do with my time? Watch TV, scroll on Instagram. Like, I wanted something that would like spark my creative, make something, learn how to do something. I was like, I literally have no skills.
Yeah.
I need a skill.
What were you doing before?
I worked as a child developmental specialist. So on top of like my own 2 kids, I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. I worked with kids all day with developmental delays, and I would go to their homes and do in-home visits. So it was just, I was just like, I'm around kids all day. I have one adult that I interact with at the time. And after that, I don't do anything on my time,
Okay.
No, I think it's just so common that like moms end up, we end up like you said that, and I'm glad that routine I think triggers with all of us because everything becomes so routine when we have children, right? In terms of schedules and life, and like it becomes all of a sudden your life is like so like Groundhog Day.
Scheduled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
feels
like
like
scheduled.
Groundhog Day, and you're like, wait, who am I? And like, what do I love to do? And like you said, like, what do I do with my time? And so many moms do end up when they have a minute to breathe or their baby is napping or goes to bed, you're like, oh my God, I can like watch a movie or sit here or get on my phone. And instead, you use that time to find your business and find something you enjoy doing and find, I'm sure, like a part of you, right?
Yeah, I think that was really it. I was just like, what do I like to do? What skills do I have? Who am I?
Yeah,
Kind of
I
that
think that's
moment.
the question right there, though, Sandra. So many women right now, and I know like when I speak to them, it's like that question right there. Who am I? As a mom, I feel like we all get to that point where we're like, who the F am I? I am not just your mom. Like,
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
had a whole identity before
yeah,
this and I forgot what it is. Yeah.
yes, yes.
That, at least for me, was like, I mean, it's a difficult for all moms, but some moms take it on a lot more gracefully. It was not that way for me. I was like,
Same.
who the fuck am I now? Like, you know what I mean? So I totally resonate. This totally resonates with me because it's like you want to be able to have, we're so capable of having so many other facets of us, but when you become a mom, it really does become really pigeonholed, and you're like, this can't be it. At least
Yeah.
that's the
I'm
moment.
not just this identity anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
100%. My next question then would be now that you've had this, effort moment, like what kind of opportunities have opened up for you, or did open up for you by having that?
Um, so kind of like I had mentioned, it just started as a hobby. And I think the biggest opportunity that opened up for me was becoming full time. I started as a hobby. I was doing markets on the weekends. We have like little craft markets in our area. So I was doing markets on the weekends and making custom pieces for people just for like some extra money. And I guess the biggest opportunity brought is to make it my full time job. And now it's been my full time job for almost 2 years, where I am financially supporting myself and my two kids. And that was just like the biggest opportunity. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What an
On
achievement that is.
Yeah. And on top of that, I've had opportunities to like go to Pixar. I got to go to Levi's corporate offices. I went to Google. I've been to Facebook a few times. Just so many cool opportunities once you like finally put yourself out there. And that was a kind of another big F it moment was when I was like, you know what? F my job. um, I can do this. I know I can do this full time, and I just like need to put all my cards in one place. And like, if I dedicate myself to this, like I can make it happen. Um, and I feel like that's kind of when the bigger opportunities kind of started rolling in.
I mean, it's always when you finally step out of your comfort zone.
Okay, so what opportunities have opened up for you after saying F it and doing this?
What I would say I guess my biggest opportunity that I received or have gotten, is being able to pursue my small business full time. Kind of like I had mentioned to you guys, it started as like a hobby, and there's a whole bunch of craft markets in the area around, or like locally to me. And doing markets on the weekends, making like extra money on the side. I kind of started to see the demand of like what I was making and people wanting customs and can you make this and can you make that, and like quickly expanded my inventory. And then I started doing bigger markets kind of towards the bay, and kind of seeing more money come in. And that's kind of when I just realized, I can do this full time. And if I really like dedicate myself to bettering my products and putting like, instead of just dividing me into 20 different places trying to manage all these jobs and this like side hobby, um yeah, I just decided to go full time, and I feel like that was like the biggest opportunity that came.
That's a huge deal to be able to walk away from what you had before that was secure and that was paying your bills to all of a sudden being your own boss and being able to support you and your family. Are you on your own, or do you have a partner that's helping you, or
No, I'm a single mom. Just me and my kids.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Even
Wow. That's
even more, even more, and I understand this. I've been in that place. I know that journey, and it's a lot to believe in yourself enough when you've already got the weight of the world on you to provide for yourself and your children, and for you to be able to walk away from a job, have these opportunities open up, and make this your full-time thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
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 super
everyone's
impressive.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once I saw like when I expanded my inventory and when I was able to do these bigger markets and kind of put myself out there a little bit more, and I saw that maybe in a weekend I was making the same that I was making at my part-time job in a month because I could only work part-time. My kids are 5 and 7. At that time, my kids were 2 and 4. They were little. It was really hard to manage like daycare and like only going for a few hours. So
I don't,
um,
yeah.
I
it's
mean, I have no idea how I have one kid and she's barely turning 3. And I'm like, how the hell were you able to do this stuff? Was your 2-year-old at home or was it daycare? Like,
She was in preschool part-time, so she would go to like school for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I would work for 4 or 5 hours, and then I would like have to schedule like my parents to help, and their dad is still very much involved in their life. We're just separated, so it was
Mhm.
just like managing everybody's schedule to get help just for me to work and like make minimum and like really not make anything. So then when I saw my small business kind of making the same income in a weekend, I was like, if I really put myself out there and do this, this, and this, and make sure I'm doing this, this, and this, I could probably make more than I'm making now and be home for my kids, not have to drop them off at daycare, not be
Mhm.
stressed about who's going to pick them up, who's going to drop them off. I need to go see this client. I don't have anyone to watch my kids. Like I could be here during the week and work on the weekends and still be able to juggle it.
so, okay, this question is unrelated to the list, but I'm so curious because, you have a handmade crafting business. How do you do this by yourself with like custom orders and all of that?
How do I do it?
Yeah. Do you do it by yourself completely
I
or do
do
you?
it by myself. I make everything myself. From the
Wow.
like little tags that I put on my trays, I print them and I sit here and I cut them. Oh, excuse my cat, sorry.
Wow.
Um, I pour everything myself. I embroider everything myself. Um, I just, I won't say I'm the best at time management. I'm still learning, but I basically break up my day into different shifts. So in the morning, I'll do like a big pour. At night, once they go to sleep, I work. During the day, I have the embroidery machine running. Yeah, so I just break up my day by different shifts. I do the morning shift, the night shift, and then the day shift. And I kind of want to say workaholic a little bit, but also I have no choice. I don't have anyone to hand it off to.
Yeah, you have no choice, but also like you're calling the shots and like you're enjoying what you're doing, I'm assuming, because
Yeah,
otherwise you wouldn't have pulled this onto being a full-time thing. So that's pretty cool.
yeah, I do very much enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, my next question, since you say when you say F it, you learn a lot about yourself because it's put you onto this new path of self-discovery and learning new things. So I'm curious to know were there any positive or negative things that you learned about yourself once you started this journey?
Yeah, I I learned that I can do anything I put my mind to it. I learned that I can really just make anything happen that I need to make happen. I don't I doubt myself in other aspects sometimes, but for the most part, I'm like this opportunity comes, the kids have school, I don't have childcare, I have to be at this place at this time. I'm like, I'm still gonna make it happen. Like I just feel like the biggest thing I learned was just I can make anything happen. I also learned that I can manage a lot more than I thought I could. That could be like a negative and a positive, right? And I would say negatively, probably I'm not the best with time management. Um, and I'm not the best with work-life balance. I'm still working on that, and I think a lot of small business owners can relate.
Sure.
Um, Learning how to stop working even when you're sitting on the couch, like figuring out content. And I'm sure you guys get it too with like, I need to post something, the algorithm,
Yeah.
this, and okay, you don't need to be like thinking,
We were just
We were
having
just
yeah,
having
yeah,
that
we were just
conversation.
having this conversation.
Yeah.
People don't know that there's so much that goes into it. Like when you are doing your own business, like you said, and when you're doing it all on your own, and how much time it is, and the juggle between motherhood, your personal self.
So I think as a small business owner, it's really hard to learn how to balance work and life, especially when you work from home. It feels like every time I'm home, I could be doing something productive, cutting tags, printing stuff, social media management, content, and it's really hard to just learn how to stop. And I feel like a lot of small business owners can relate, and maybe you guys, I'm sure, can relate with social media being a whole other part-time job, really,
Yeah.
between DMs and content and reels and algorithms and stories and all this stuff. It's I think that's probably like my negative thing I've kind of found out about myself, just not really knowing how to separate it and kind of when to like cut myself off from working all the time.
Yes.
So it's a
Yeah.
work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine when you're working from home too. That's like a really hard delineation to make, and I think people learned that in the pandemic too. Like when you're working from home, it's like, oh my God, you just work all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question then I wanted to ask you was, how were you able to work through that like negative self-talk and doubts that were coming up when you made this change? Like, so when you're telling yourself, I need to keep working, or I don't need to keep working, or when people get into it and they're like, should I even be doing this, or is this consuming me? Like, how did you push through those kind of voices to keep yourself going through it?
I feel like those voices change, but they stick with you. In different aspects, right? So at first I was like, what if I can't pay the bills? What if I can't do this? At the time I started my business, I was with the kid's dad, so financially I still kind of had that backup. So it was more of like, okay, like now, like I can risk it a little bit more. Now that
Mm-hmm.
I've been by myself and financially, on my own, by myself with the kids, it's like there are different doubts, there are different negative self-talk sometimes. I'm like, man, like, do I gotta go work at Chick-fil-A part-time or something? Because like,
Yeah.
it's a slow season, it's raining, this market got canceled, and it's not steady income. But I would say remember why you started. Remember how much you've accomplished. Like that's what I have to sit back and be like, I didn't get this opportunity because I didn't try. I didn't do this because I'm not receiving this opportunity, or when I'm like, man, like can I really make this happen? Like is this even going to be a successful thing? I think just remembering your why, remembering who's watching. I think also my kids,
Mm-hmm.
now that they're a little bit older, they see all the work that I put in. They see that mom works all the time. My daughter tells me, "Mom, I wish we had a robot that had more hands so they could help you do work, or I wish there was this so we could help you." And
Oh,
sometimes I feel kind of bad that they like feel that way, but I would just say that's really helped me, having like a community, like my friends, to like encourage me and be like, remind me, like, you're that bitch, you did that, like
yeah.
don't
Chingona.
yeah, you're chingona, like don't doubt yourself, like you got here, like what makes you think that you're not going to be able to do this again, or push through this obstacle or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's important that you said that in terms of your community, because we're so big on that. And I know
Yeah.
even through this, I have had moments in the last year where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Like it is
Yeah.
consuming every part of my life. I'm not getting to what I want to be. And like there have been moments because I've got a child to take care of as well, solely on my income is my own income, right? That's it, on how I feed
Right.
her and I. And so I understand that struggle where it's like, am I going to have to go, do this? Or am I going to have to go do this while I work on what I love to do, while I
Still
take
your
care of,
passion.
yeah, still
Yeah.
have my passion, but something has to feed us. My responsibility is pulled in so many directions, right? As a mother
Yeah.
who is financially responsible for you and your child. It's a different level of multitasking and
Right.
and figuring out how to like get shit done. So if you do it, like you're really fucking strong. Carly, Jen. And I remember calling her one time and being like, I'm done. And she literally was like, the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And like she was like, every single time you ever come to me and say this again, I'm going to remind you of how hard you've worked for the last year and what you've done. And so I think that is such a huge part of it, is making sure you have people that are there to like say, No,
Yeah.
like to mirror
Yeah.
what you have already done when you can't sometimes see it.
Remember, you can't, yeah, it's hard to sometimes reflect and be like a quick little story. I'm in the process of opening up a storefront, and I went to our final walkthrough yesterday. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And I'm going in with two business partners who had their partners and their families there yesterday through the walkthrough, and it was just me. And I was driving home and I started to get emotional because I was just like, man, like, can I do this? Like, with the kids, financially, I have my rent, now I have store rent, like this, and this. And I was just getting like all in my feels. And I called my best friend and I was like, fuck, like, I don't know. Is it okay to say fuck?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
totally.
yeah.
It's fine.
Fucking Madres.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It just didn't fit on here, so we had to,
Yeah, it
just
didn't
kidding.
fit, but yeah.
Okay, well, I was just like, I called her and I was like, I was like, fuck, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Like, I'm so stressed out. Like, now really just seeing down, like, money for displays, inventory, this, and this. And I was just like, I don't know, like, if this is gonna be okay. And she's like, okay, cry it out and get the fuck back to work. And she's like, no, absolutely not. She's like, you've been working so hard for this for the past 3 years, and this is all you've ever wanted. And no, get back to it. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like we were saying when we jumped off here, we need that. It's so easy to be on your own doing all this stuff and become like tunnel vision, and your thoughts get the best of you a lot of the times. And so having those people, even if it's like one or two really close friends that know you and know how the journey's been, to be
Yeah.
able to support you and be like, no, bitch, you are going to keep going. Like,
Yeah.
it's you got no choice.
I think we all need someone in our life like that, just to, check us back in. Like, this is what you've done. This is who you are, and get over it.
How would you describe yourself now versus the Sandra before you said F it?
I would say I'm so much more confident. I'm just like, I'm literally a completely different person. That Sandra 3 years ago was um, lost in a marriage, put herself on the back burner, was 55 pounds heavier than she is now, didn't prioritize herself, and didn't think that, didn't know what I was doing. I still hadn't finished school. I was working at this great job, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, kind of just lost. And now like I mentioned earlier, I know I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. I'm so much more strong-minded. I'm so much more self-confident. I just have so much more belief in myself, and I just feel like I'm in such a better mental and healthy space where I can be a better role model for my kids, and they see like mom's doing it, and mom's cool, and yeah, I think honestly, just that alone, just the growth in the past 3 years, or over 3 years at this point, that's the biggest thing.
I mean, that's the biggest thing we can offer our kids. I mean, Carla and I talk about that all the time in terms of just like, what are we going to show them? What are we going to stand for? What work ethic do they see? And do they see us happy in what we're doing? Do they see us passionate about what we're doing? Do we care about, like you said, even like with like your health or your weight or whatever it may be, like how you start to take care of yourself and show up for yourself when you start to believe in yourself? It changes the way you believe in yourself in every area of your life. It changes the confidence that you have and that you walk with. And I've seen that even through Carla and I over the last like year and a half, when we really said F it and started doing this stuff. There's a strength that starts to come in, right?
That like, you didn't even know was there.
You didn't even know was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even know you had it. And that's why these moments are so fucking important. And as women and as moms, is because it's not just the job and the career. Like, yes, that's the big celebration and the win. It's the internal win that happens when you make these big moments and you believe in yourself, and you get to show yourself and your children what you're capable of. It's so much bigger than if the orders come in anymore,
Yeah.
And I feel like when you internally win that way, it like projects, right? It projects everywhere. To your kids. It projects to the people around you. You are so much more happier. Like it's an overall. It
is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I really think people are like, oh yeah, they like left their job, they did this, they created this. It's like, no, I need you guys to understand, like, this is
There's
like
a whole
yeah,
transformation.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. That happens as a mom and as a woman. And I think it's beautiful that you said that, because at the beginning of this podcast, you mentioned, who am I? And it's funny because then you now we're at the end of the questions, and it's like, oh, I know who you are, right? You know who you are.
I
And
have a
that's
way
what
better idea.
happens. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what happens by saying F it and believing in yourself enough and taking a chance on yourself enough to know that, like, you are skilled to do something that can provide for you and your family. And a lot of us
exactly.
walk around thinking we are absolutely not. That's for somebody else. That's not for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So that would bring me in then to the last question, which would be, what would be your message then to, of empowerment for your children and for anybody listening, any moms listening? What is your message?
Um, for any moms listening who have an idea that they want to pursue, who feel the kind of ways that we've been talking about, just lost, kind of just, this is your identity is a mom now, and you don't really have anything going for yourself, and it doesn't have to be a craft, it doesn't have to be fitness. Like, take the time, 30 minutes a day, to find something that makes you happy and reminds you of who you were before you were a mother. I think that that's really I would say is my biggest message, or my biggest thing that I want to give out. Like, make sure you don't lose yourself.
Amen.
You are not just a mother. You are not just a wife. You are not just a partner. Like, you are you. You were you, and you like things, and you maybe like things now that you didn't like before. So take the time for yourself. Prioritize yourself. If you are your best self, you are your best self for your kids, for your
Amen.
partner,
Amen.
for the community around you, for your friends. So I feel like that's definitely my biggest thing. I think that if I wouldn't have, I don't know where I would be or what I'd be
Yeah.
doing right now.
Yeah.
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 That reminds me of this episode I was listening to from Mel Robbins, where she talks about how important it is, if you feel like you've got a really crazy schedule, but your schedule only consists of things that don't bring you joy, to add in, as crazy as it sounds, to add in something that does bring you joy actually completely shifts everything. And you feel like you have more time because it's totally done like a mindset shift, because you're actually incorporating a passion or something that brings you happiness versus just like the to-do list that you just have to do every day.
And even if you have to add it into your schedule, like
Yeah.
literally add it into your schedule if you have to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have
Mm-hmm.
to. You have to, because it will change the way that you feel and the energy that you put out. And everything's energy. Like, everything is energy. You put out,
Yep.
you get back what you put out. So it's important to shift that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your message is entirely like in line with our message. And so that means that all of us feel that, we're in it
Yeah.
together. We get it. We're seeking that same, who is she? What is she? What is she leaving her kids? What is she leaving this world? Like, there's a fight that comes out. And I heard this recently, and I think it's huge for moms, where it's like, there can't be, what is it, like something to fall back on. There can't be a second option. There needs to be like no option. You need to just
Yeah.
know that, like, you're effing doing this. And it's when you get comfortable with all those, like, well, I guess I could just do this and we'll be fine. You got to stop. We got to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I'm tired. Like, maybe I'll just go to sleep, or let me just watch TV
Yeah.
instead.
No,
Like,
no,
no, do something. Like,
no,
do something
do
for
something.
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fucking
the
do something.
just fucking do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The feeling, or like the starting is the hardest part, but
Yeah.
like the feeling after of whatever you choose to do for yourself, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
I really needed that.
Yeah.
I always feel like the Nike thing, the just do it, and I'm like, just F it.
Just
Like, it feels
fucking
the
do
same to me.
it.
It's
Yeah.
that same,
Yeah.
just do it.
It's that
It's
same
totally.
motivation. Just fucking do it.
I am so grateful for you, and we're so thankful that you stayed on, even with all of our technical difficulties. I know the listeners won't be able to hear that because we have a beautiful editor, but these things can be challenging and hard, and we are so grateful for you pushing through and sharing your story with us. Where can everybody find you, shop with you, support you?
So I have my website. It's www.cositascontreras.com. I also have my Instagram and TikTok, Facebook, Cositas Contreras. My storefront will be opening in the beginning of May, and it'll be downtown San Jose by San Jose State University. It's going to be called Sueños. And that'll be more posted on my Instagram once we get the ball rolling. But yeah, all social media platforms, Cositas Contreras.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yay,
Thank you
thank
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So let's
Yes.
just finish it here, but this is where we're going to say just F it. So Sandra, you'll say it first, and then I'll say it, and then Carla will say it.
Okay, just F it.
Just F it.
Just F it.